Hey there, everyone. Welcome to another high-level masterclass. My name is Haplin. I am on the product marketing team, and today I am joined by a very special guest, Mike Pacitto. Mike, I want to actually have you just introduce yourself to the whole class here. Tell us a little bit about your journey, your background, your experience with high level, etc. Give us a little bit about who you are.
Well, like most people, thank you so much, Haplin, for having me. Really appreciate it. And like most people, I did come from agency background, running the whole traditional marketing agency. And around 5, 6 years ago, High Level came in and just it floored me because it was the first time I was ever able to see that at scale or that productized, like build it once, sell it like 100 times. Uh, Feature actually being used because everyone always promised that, but High Level actually was able to deliver that. And the first challenge that I ran into all those years ago was getting those first couple clients on and realizing that after you get like 5 or 10 clients, things kind of go a little crazy, right? It's like
Yeah.
you're starting to manage onboarding, all that stuff. And for some reason, I decided to just specialize in the idea of like, well, I need to like write this down because I have ADHD. My brain doesn't remember literally anything. So I just started writing things down, and that turned into a documentation process. And then people started getting interested in that. And a couple of years later, I'm writing courses, trainings, helping out agencies at the diamond level, the getting people from zero to gold SaaS, working with all of the support agencies, and just trying to really focus in on the operation stuff is where I found my niche. Only person that on the planet that does what I do. So, and it's kind of cool to get to just to be a little bit weird and different, and get to really just focus on that side of the scaling aspect.
Ah, that is so awesome. We love Weird and Different here. We are super excited to have you, blessed to have you. And for those of you who aren't aware, gold, when he says gold and diamond, SaaSpreneur, these are like essentially the most successful high-level agencies who are award winners. We do our own awards program here and we give out gold SaaSpreneur awards and diamond SaaSpreneur awards. And when they need help, they go to Mr. Pacitto here. So that is just a little bit of context as to the value. That we're going to be getting into today. Speaking of which, I probably did a terrible job in not explaining to you guys, the audience, exactly what we're doing here in terms of topic, but better late than never. Let's talk about what we're actually getting into today. You hinted at it, Michael, because as you said, so many agencies struggle with this. You get to 5 to 10 clients, and then things start to like really kind of spiral out of control. It gets really chaotic, really fast, exponentially so. And what we're going to be talking about today is how to fix that specifically with a feature called snapshots. High Level is very unique in that it has this snapshots feature. A lot of different softwares for marketers and digital entrepreneurs will have a template library, cloning features, some scalability in there. But High Level is one of the few that actually takes all the different features from a full, like a 1,000-foot view of the entire system, not just feature by feature, but workflows as well as forms and funnels and forms in funnels, calendars in funnels, takes the entire snapshot of that business's setup and packages it up for one-click cloning across multiple clients. So for agency owners, digital entrepreneurs, folks who are helping other businesses, it's a very, very valuable feature that they use to scale, right? That they use to leverage their time so they don't have to build over and over. That was a hack job of an explanation. I would love it if you could take another run at that and kind of just give us a little bit of an introduction, Michael, to the positioning of snapshots, the value of snapshots, how you use snapshots, what they actually are.
I would love to. So you hit all of the pieces on the head, right? And really, it's the devil's in the details of things because you're right. A lot of apps talk about copying and pasting things. Like if you have a make or even N8N or any other type of app, there's some element of duplicating the process and changing it. The difference with high level snapshots is not just getting that duplication and putting it into someone else's account. It's also being able to scale the customization process where you can
Mhm.
fill out one form and populate everything in the account from a simple, it could be a couple different questions, or it could be as complex as you want, but being able to have just a very simple onboarding process to customize it. We're going to be going deep into that. And that's what we're here, right? Like the reason why most people got on a high level is because there's that promise of scaling, building once, selling to 1,000 times. So maybe this might be a good chance. Maybe we'll just dive right into the workshop part. I think that
Yeah,
might be good.
please. This is your class at this point. I am excited to learn from you. Um, and yeah, go ahead and share your screen. We can get into some of the content here.
Wonderful. So what we're just going to do here is go into the share, and we are good. So cool, guys. Share. Got to always hit it twice there in Zoom. Awesome, guys. So here's what we're going to be talking about. So I'm kind of known a bit for about snapshots for documentation, which is the most sexiest topic on the planet. Talking about documentation. I'm sure, Haplin, that's your favorite pastime on a Saturday evening, right? Is talking with your friends about documentation. Is that
Yeah,
is
I mean,
that
I might be the wrong person to ask because I actually I feel like I'm
Oh shoot,
genuinely
yeah,
very
my
excited to
bad, my
get
bad.
into this. But so many people watching, you're right. So many people might they be rolling their eyes or snoozing through this, but I encourage you if you're watching this to not. So many people, new users, veteran, high level users, even if they understand what snapshots are, even if you feel like you understand, so many people misunderstand or don't get the full value out of snapshots because they're missing these little pieces, these little strategic pieces that Michael's going to be introducing to us here. So I highly
Yeah.
recommend, even if you think you know what you're doing with snapshots right now, prepare to get your mind blown a little bit because,
Yeah,
yeah, we're going to learn the right way to do it, basically.
yeah, for sure, man. So yeah, snapshots documentation, it's not always the most sexiest thing. We love talking about the sales. We like talking about the big vision. So what we're going to talk about here is that practical reality of dealing with 10 to 100 clients and why lifetime value. So we're going to talk about how do you actually make money with things, right? If you're going to be with high level and you want to scale and you want 100 clients, you probably want money at the end of the day. You don't want 100 clients as a job to manage. Like you're not just trying to give yourself a really stressful job. You want that to actually make you money. So this is where we're going to be talking about is how do we make money with snapshots? Uh, Otherwise, documentation is not going to be anything you want. So I guess you have a legal thing that we got to throw in that results may
That's true.
vary.
Yep, past performance
More
not
for
a
the
guarantee of future performance. High level does not guarantee that you will experience financial gain or generate revenue. Results will vary. That said, we're going to be showing you how other people have, like Michael said, made a lot of money. I'm sure now people are sitting up, oh, making money with snapshots. Now we're paying attention.
So what's really great about what I get to talk about is I don't promise money. The sales guys, you got to make the money. That's cool. I got to tell you how to keep the money because
Nice.
that's where profit comes from. So that's it. So the three things that we're going to be talking about is I'm going to be showing you in this course what success looks like. I want to show you the day-to-day operations of managing agencies with 100 plus 1,000 clients. It's always the same, whether you're starting small or big. And what we're also going to show is the silent killer of lifetime value is because it's very easy to make money, right? You could promise the world to somebody. You could buy a snapshot right now, go off, sell it. That's fine. But keeping that money, keeping those clients engaged, paying you month after month without all of your operations becoming a mess, that's the hard part. And then finally, I'm going to show you how snapshots scale because the thing that people don't know about is that 90% of the work you're going to be doing in high level happens after you've onboarded them. So there's all this focus on sales and positioning, and there's better people than me to talk about that. But the reality is all of the work, all of your costs in business happen after the launch. So I think this is really important to figure out how we make that as easy as possible, as scalable as possible. So let's jump in. What should scale look like? So when we say scale, first off, I want to just make clear, people use that term all the time. When we say scale, we're saying taking something that works and being able to go from 10 clients to 100 clients to 1,000 clients smoothly. It means that we have a process that will work at every single point in that journey as we go from 0 to 100. Growing our business means that we're getting more clients. We're running into growing pains. We're adapting. We're changing things as we go. Whereas scale says this process will continue no matter how big we get. We do it the same way every time. So I just want to make it that definition clear. So, but what does a scale look like when we're doing it right? So first off, let's say we have 100 plus paying clients, right? You have a small team. You don't have a lot of chaos, right? You don't have operational things. Nobody's asking people in the background, what's happening? Hey, this client, we're doing it this way. What did we do for this client? Hey, we don't think we can handle more clients right now because we're fixing some mess. There's none of that. We don't even need a large team to make that all happen. What a successfully scaling HighLevel account also in the day-to-day, you can roll out new features, right? And quickly. So HighLevel, you guys just dropped a bomb just a couple months ago there with the Level Up Summit, right? Where you had 300 plus new features, which we so love. But there's that overwhelm of, but if you've already launched, how do we take advantage of all these new features, right? All this new AI stuff that's coming down the pipeline. If we can't adapt our product to take advantage of those features, we're kind of missing the value of HighLevel, right? We're not scalable. We're kind of stuck in a rut, right? So a scalable HighLevel agency is one that's able to adapt to all of the cool new stuff and bring the value to people. And you can do it quickly. It doesn't take you 6 months to launch. You can do it. You might be launching every single month with some new stuff. And when you get new clients, finally, you get more profit and you don't get more suffering. If you doubled, the question you ask is, if you doubled the amount of clients you had right now, would that be kind of scary? Would your, and maybe not you, the business owner, go ask your team that. Would your team be scared and be like, oh, what are we doing? Or is everybody going to be like, that's amazing. We can't wait. Bring them on, right? Happen, any other thoughts on scalers that you think cover what a successful agency is looking like from your side?
Great overview, honestly. And I love the question of could you double your capacity right now? Or I've also heard it just phrased, if you had 5 clients in a day or 10 clients in a day or new clients, right? 10 opportunities come up to you and say, hey, I need help. Would you be able to onboard them or not? If the answer is yes, then you are looking at green pastures, right? If the answer is no, then the next question is why, and you start to dive in. It's a great thought experiment as to start exploring where are the bottlenecks in your operations, in your onboarding process, in your results getting process, in your fulfillment to keep you from being able to actually grow your business. Is it a lot of entrepreneurs get stuck on the sales side of like, I'm just trying to do whatever I can to get to a yes, not realizing that they actually can't afford to get a yes right now because they're actually, if they do get a yes, they'll be even more up the creek than a no because they're spending more resources fulfilling than the money they're actually bringing in or whatever. So I love where you're headed with that. I think it's spot on.
Beautiful. Yeah, because, and that's the key thing for scale for me. It's always hard to get caught up on definitions, but that is how you know you have a scalable system versus one that's ready to grow. And there's nothing wrong with growing, growing pains, all that, figuring out. You have to do that. You need to get through that. But when we're talking scale, we're not just saying I have a snapshot and I can sell to 100 people. What we're saying is that the process that we do to build, to launch, and to manage, whether we're bringing on 10 clients or 100 or 1,000, it'll always be the same. We know the general process is going to be the same. And if you have to put on the brakes and change because you brought 25 clients on, well, that tells me you weren't actually scalable. But which is fine. You had 25 new clients. You got money to invest in making your process scalable. And so this is that reality check that you really need when we're talking about that growth side, is that a lot of agencies can be good at scaling their revenue. But the thing is, when you're dealing with a software, right, The chaos is going to scale faster than any amount of money you can bring in, because you can, okay, I'm going to hire, you can say, oh, you know what? I'm going to make a bunch of sales and I'm going to go and hire a bunch of people to deal with the chaos. Cool. What's your process for bringing those people on? Do you have enough bandwidth to manually bring those people on? Can your team cross-train people? What is that going to do if you bring on like 5 more clients? Now you're going to need like a manager too. Now you need a management team to manage the people, right? Your chaos, the amount of work and problems you can create will always grow faster than your revenue if you don't have a scalable process. So this is that reality check. Now, if you're saying to me, Mike, no, man, I've been bringing on people nonstop and it's working fine. Cool. Get off this webinar and go sell some more, right? You're awesome, right? But for most people, when you're a marketing agency, a creative, maybe you're from the more sales or ads background, and you're starting to deal with this operations, this is the thing you're running into. And the silent killer is, it's not lack of sales. It's not bugs in your system. It's not all of this. What the silent killer is that if you can't keep those clients on, if you can't keep them engaged, then everything else falls down the wayside. And so what are some of those reasons that people leave, right? Cool. We need better processes. Yeah, sure. But what specifically do we need to solve? So slow onboarding. Hey, I got 30 clients. I'm going to go on and do a presentation for 500 people at a workshop. And I might bring on like 30. I might have the opportunity to sell to 30, 40 people. Well, if you can only onboard one person a week, you're going to hit some roadblocks real fast. If the bugs that you created, because there's always bugs, you're never going to get away from it. But if you can't fix those bugs, right? You onboard 100 clients and there's a bug, but if you don't have the operations to go in and manually fix those 100 accounts, at some point you're going to have to stop the sales to go and fix those, right? So, that's the reason why people leave, is that you don't fix those bugs. No improvements. Guys, AI is changing. HighLevel put out a whole bunch of powerful new tools, and your clients are going to expect you to improve. Now, you don't have to give them new shiny things. You don't need to make things complicated. But clients might leave if they don't see progress. They don't see you adding new things. That's why HighLevel is so freaking cool. Like every single day, if you're ever wondering, is HighLevel just resting? Happening, it's like, it's the same old day. No. Literally something new every single day, right? You guys are showing that you are putting new value into this product called HighLevel. We love it. Your clients need to see that too, right? If they stop logging in, that's a killer. Hard for them to keep paying for something they're not logging in for. And they forget why they pay you, right? Those are some real reasons there. Here's the thing. None of these problems that make your clients leave are happening because you don't care. And this is important, not just to not judge yourself, but you need to eliminate the thing in your head that says all of the other agencies that are running into these problems, it's because they don't care about their clients. They don't care about onboarding. They don't care about bugs being fixed. They don't care about, showing improvement. It's not that. Every other agency cares about their clients very deeply. But the problem is that the process they have, they're not capable because they're getting overwhelmed. And the reason why you need to not judge yourself when when all this is happening is because if you believe the reason other people are failing is because they don't care, you're going to be repeating the same mistakes that they made, and you're going to get into trouble there. Cool. So making money, if you make money in the lifetime value, not in the sales, it's not the launches. Happily, you had something there, my dude?
Oh, sure. Yeah, I'll just jump in to say that I wanted to just like clarify the importance of long-term value from my experience as well. It's absolutely where you make your money for sure. In my agency experience, I would way rather have one client stay on a year than make a new sale per month and have the equivalent of one client for the whole year, but it's 12 different clients who all stayed a month each, right? There's so many good reasons for that that you're already outlining that you're getting to in terms of money, efficiency, resource, like waste and energy. But there's also, I don't want to maybe jump the gun or whatever, but I just want to put this out there. This is kind of like my personal side of things philosophy is that it's more fulfilling to work with somebody who stays with you, that you get to go on a real journey on. It's like, for me, it's the real reason why I'm in this industry. I didn't get into this to try to go churn and burn through a new client every 3 months who's quitting for some reason related to their dissatisfaction with my fulfillments or whatever. It doesn't reflect great on the agency. It's not sustainable. But the feeling of getting to work with somebody for a while and see them get great results and then see those results compound as you make improvements and optimize and actually get to create real meaningful impact in that business and then go create marketing content out of that impact via client testimonials and get all those good vibes captured on a Zoom call that you then go use to help sell your next client. Like there's so many benefits to actually really sticking with a client and helping them in a way that impacts their business and makes a big difference, that changes the whole energy of your organization, gives you, like I said, more marketing assets, better reputation. It's like a huge, huge, huge difference maker. And so I already know that you're going really deep into the analysis of like why it genuinely makes more sense from an operational standpoint. And then I just wanted to also add like that kind of intangible, um, like energetic sense of like real success. Real success looks like being able to help somebody and get them really
Nothing,
stoked on your services and have them want to continue working with you. That's what you're able to achieve when you're going to do what Michael's showing us.
nothing feels better than seeing your clients make money.
Yeah.
You know, making money is nice, but I think what we're doing is seeing the transformation that now they have more money to impact their community, to impact their clients. That's value at scale. And I really resonate that too, right? Because when we're talking, let's just go back a second there, right? When we're talking about no improvements, right? We're talking about not being able to update. Well, are you going to know everything about how your clients are going to use a product when you first build it? Probably not, right? Probably you're going to build it as to your best of your ability. You're going to talk with the clients. You're going to figure out what your user journey is, all that fun stuff. But at some point, you're going to see in the real world what actually helps them, what actually gets them results, and what doesn't. And you need to think that those changes are going to happen after the launch. So I wanted this slide here is to show that the 90% of the work for achieving lifetime value, keeping the clients, building that trust, keeping that trust, delivering value, adding more value every single month that they're in, that's all happening after onboarding. So that means that that snapshot isn't sold once. You build it once and you could sell it 1,000 times, but it doesn't stop there. There's more. You have to update it 1,000 times, maybe 100 times, 10
Yeah.
times once, right?
Totally. And speaking
And
as
so,
somebody with experience in this, really quick, sorry, not to cut you off, but I do just want to acknowledge, like, as an agency operator, whatever, there's so much promise in being able to like build once, sell 1,000 times, and it like there's this mythical narrative of then that's just sailing off into the sunset from there. And even as you're talking about making improvements, making updates, 90% of the work happens after. There's a little bit of I know that the audience is resonating with this because I feel it in my own heart, like that there's some that sounds scary to me. That sounds like, oh no, that's it's a lot of work then. Like, is it that even sustainable? And so I know that's what you're trying to set up because I'm interested to see how it's going to be possible for us to utilize snapshots, which are meant to be, one-click installs, and also be able to provide long-term improvements that help create this LTV, continue to actually do really important and fantastic work of like optimizing processes and continuing to increase results and help them become sustainable. But there's a part of me that's really scared to hear that because it just frankly sounds like a whole lot of work to keep a client
it
that
can't
already sold,
it can
right?
be.
Yeah, so
So
I'm
I'll
interested
say
to hear you
I'll
speak
get
to that.
Yeah. So 90% of the work happens. It doesn't mean that 90% of your effort happens. It's
Ah,
just the actual work. So like, cause you can automate. I have one of my very first coaching clients from like 3 or 4 years ago is he works about 10 hours a week. Why? The 90% is still happening. All of the work is happening after the onboarding, but he's got his process down. He's automated things. He's tweaked he's had that continual improvement of his process. So yes, 90% of the work happens there, but not 90% of your time happens. It's just that's where the value of lifetime, that's where lifetime value, maybe a better way of saying
gotcha.
90% of where lifetime value is created is after the launch. That's
Interesting.
so
Yeah,
thank you for
totally.
that. Yeah, yeah.
Continue
Now that,
taking us
yeah.
there. Yeah.
Beautiful. So where does that, what's that in that 90%? Well, it's proactive fixes and updates, right? If you're waiting for clients to complain about bugs to go in and fix them, you're already sunk, right? If clients have like nothing feels great about having to go to the person that you're paying money for to tell them that there's something that they should have probably, shouldn't you have fixed this before you sold me, right? There's always that feeling, right? Even though bugs are a part of life, it never feels good for your clients to have to do that. So if you could proactively fix and update your product, your snapshot beforehand, well, your clients are probably going to stay. They're going to stay longer. Smooth onboarding, right? Making it as smooth as possible, right? Means that if it was a good experience going on, they're going to stay on longer. Like, if they have a rough onboarding, they're not going to be as lenient on you when little bumps happen later on. Continuous improvements, right? Showing them that this isn't just something you built 3 years ago and you're just reselling. This is something you're always working on. There's new stuff to get excited about. Client feedback, lifetime value comes if you don't get feedback from your clients, there's probably going to be a churn risk happening soon. You need to be asking your clients, having conversations, even building a product that gets them excited enough to talk to you and give feedback is a good sign that they're going to stay longer, right? Because if you're not getting anything, you got to watch that. And here's the other thing, and it might be the just one line item here, but this is where most of my life's work gets focused on, which is your team's communication and knowledge. Because when we're talking about scale, we're not just talking about bringing on more customers this week. What we're also talking about is what happens if your key team member left today? Would you be able to bring someone on and replace them? If your team member gets overwhelmed, you need more staff. How long does it take to bring someone on new? And can they be brought in a way that they don't disrupt how things are done? Do they start rocking their boat with stuff? Do things start changing? Do they get the process wrong because it's not clear what is going on? So if you can improve how effective your team is, everything else above it there, proactive, smooth, continuous improvements, all of that gets better. And all of that depends on the snapshot. What's your onboarding? You're onboarding them to a snapshot. What are you creating their accounts? Well, you're creating a snapshot. What are you tech supporting? What are you improving? You're improving your snapshot. So it would behoove us to know that 90% of lifetime value, a number I made up, granted, but I think it feels correct. I just got to be honest, right? I don't want anyone saying, well, technically, no. Most of the work, let's use that, most work happens after. If that's where lifetime value is created, then it probably should be focused on that snapshot and how we manage it. Because if that snapshot breaks, your support tickets go up, churn eats your revenue, and your team fantasizes about quitting. They get stressed out, and you can't scale a business where your team's unhappy. You're just scaling unhappiness, and that has a shelf life. But if you have a scalable snapshot, you continuously onboard clients. Bugs came up, we could still bring on new clients because we have a process for dealing with it. We're not going sell a bunch now and then stop putting out fires. We continuously onboard clients. Our churn is decreasing. and our profit is compounding because when it's a scalable system, we don't have to bring on one new team member for every 5 clients, right? We could bring on the same small team can continually work as we scale up. If your team sleeps at night, you can sleep at night, which means when fires come up, everybody's ready to put in the extra work to deal with it. If you're already maxed, when actual problems come up outside of your control, you have nothing left. And so the shift, before we get into the practical side of this, the shift that you need to have in high levels, because right now, most of you coming in as a marketer, well, you're not just a marketer, right? You need to start thinking like a builder, like a software company, because that's what you are. You're managing a software. You are managing automations and systems that have be set up. It's like code, but with snapshots. And your snapshot is your business. High level, yes, is you're reselling high level, but what is high level? It's a bunch of tools. It's the snapshot that puts those tools together. You're onboarding them to a snapshot as much as you are onboarding them to the platform.
Yeah, high level is really like the canvas and the paint and the brush, but the snapshot is the painting. It's the expression of agencies' secret sauce, um, their approach to results getting, right? That's proprietary and
Mm.
specific to their avatar that they're serving, their niche or their client base, right? It's where
We
the
all have
real
we all have the
magic
same high
happens.
level.
Yeah.
We all have the same high level, but everyone's snapshot. The difference between your agency and my agency is the snapshot, right? So if that's where the difference is, then the success is going to be who's managing that snapshot better. So if lifetime value is the game, then snapshot management is the play. And Haplin, I loved you came up with this term. I was, it's like, what do you do? Call this the blueprint, your course, the blueprint, all that in the playbook. And so Haplin and myself here, we got together and we put into the snapshot playbook. And what this is, guys, and I'm gonna show you some practical lists. We're gonna do a little lesson of that, but there is a process for this, and this is what we have here. You could get it right in your high level account. This is just my thing from, you could get it from me at agencyunbound.com, but it's right in your high level account. You don't have to go anywhere else. It's right in there. You go into the high level university, and the whole process of how do you manage things is what we're going to be talking about. So, so that's it, guys. So the main thing before we get into that practical, we'll just stop real quick, is that the lifetime value is where we're making our money. So we need to make sure that we are managing these snapshots well. And there's so much we could talk about on this, but what I want to give you guys here is a little insight and show you what that process looks like on a day-to-day, right? Because the process that we're going to teach you in this about how do you make your snapshot more scalable, this is something that will work whether you're just starting, you get to that 50 10 client mark, that big threshold, or whether you go up there. Before we jump into the practical, any other things that you wanted to say on lifetime value, or have any other questions that we might have missed? Or is that
No,
pretty, the
I
shift
think we're
there?
pretty good. I'm stoked for where we're at. We've kind of gone over the theory and now it's time to start getting into the practice. It's honestly it's still scary to me because I'm like lots of promises were made. I just want to acknowledge that you set this up big time because you're talking about crazy results and the impact of a snapshot when you set it up right. And this is changing, I'm sure it's changing my perception, and I'm sure a lot of the people watching, the perception of what it means to manage a snapshot and to implement a snapshot, the importance of the snapshot, the centrality of the snapshot. But then you're also talking about how clients you have are implementing your method of snapshot management that's only taking 10 hours a week, right? And giving them a lot of time to be able to sleep at night, their team sleep at night, plenty of space for onboarding new clients and going from 10 to 20, etc. And I'm just excited to see how you actually do it. So I hope that's where you're
Cool.
going next, is showing us what steps do we take to actually start to see some of these types of results, how to use snapshots or how to approach snapshots to actually do what you're talking about here.
For sure, man. Yeah, it is scary. And there's a lot. You're not going to learn everything in this one call, but I think we can get you, I'll show you what 80%, you can get 80% of the value that I have is really friggin' simple. You can do it in a spreadsheet with 5 columns. So I know it sounds scary, but a lot of the things that are high value in this world, it's actually just, they're the simple things and having the discipline to just do them, not half do them, right? You got to do them and you got to be consistent. So I'm going to show you. So let's just go in here. I'll just go back into the screen and we're just going to set something up here. So the first thing is, let's think about your snapshot, right? What is your snapshot? It's if we want to say the heart of the snapshot is going to be the workflows, right? So I'm just in the workflows here. And this is going to be a much larger snapshot. This is a big example that I have, but we don't need to worry about this. The first thing we need to know is what is in here, right? I got folders in here. I can open up these folders. We got like 1 workflow here, and we got like another 3 workflows here. The first problem is do you even know what's in your snapshot, right? If we want to scale out a team, if we want to be able to troubleshoot, that's a lot of information to remember. So I'm going to show you the very 5 things of information that you need to have, that if you write these things down, is going to affect everything you do. Oh, that 90%. So the first thing is we need to write down what everything does in our snapshot. And actually, I'll show you an even better example. Oh, let me just do a little duplicate here. And Haplin, when I told you ahead of time, like this is like, hey, you wanted some practical stuff. It's like, the unfortunate thing about the work that I do, it's not just a fancy funnel page. It's like, we actually got to like, it's a nerdy thing that involves all over the spot. So first off, we're going into the agency account here and talking about the snapshots, right? So we can go into a snapshot, right? And we can click on it and we can kind of see all of the different custom fields and calendars in here. And this is a really good start for things, right? We have a list of all the funnels and all the forms, pipelines, all those things are in it. But those are just the names. We need more than just the names, right? So the first thing that we're going to need is we want to have a list of all of the names in a spreadsheet, right? We want to have this, okay, these are all that. We want to know what type of assets we have, right? So if this is my workflow name, we have it that this is a workflow. Cool. Wrote that down, right? This is a workflow. We have this tag called ads1. We have a form called opt-in form, right? So that's the step 1. We need to know everything in, right? So we got a list of a name, what they are. The next thing we need to know is a very simple documentation of what does that do, right? So we have a workflow called user tag added, and it assigns a contact to a user. So by the little side thing, if you name your workflows, the thing that triggers it, and then the outcome it produces, that makes things really easy when you're troubleshooting. So what does this workflow do? Well, it assigns contacts to a user based on the assigns to sales tag. Cool. That's what that workflow does. And that's a pretty simple explanation. I don't need 300 pages. I don't need a novel. I just need to know at a glance, what does this workflow do? And what is this workflow and what does it do? The next piece of information I need is I need to know what does this workflow need to be set up? It's not enough to have a workflow. It's like, I need to know how to set it up. Well, in this workflow, I need to assign a sales user to the assign to user action. I need that written down somewhere. And that is the third thing. And not only that, we also need to know this is what I call the $1 million check mark. Would you like a check mark for $1 million? This is it. Is this workflow, is it updatable? Does that mean, can I push out a change, an improvement to it, and overwrite my client's accounts without it overwriting anything important? So if that workflow is broken and I push it out to my existing clients, is that going to break something, or is that actually going to be good or not? So you need to know about that. And if you have that, that's going to save you time when you're updating. And then the final thing that we need, that if you write these 5 things down, it'll make things really easy, is you need to have some sort of a concept of a module, a way of breaking your snapshot out into multiple smaller, understandable pieces. An example of that is if we go into HighLevel, you already know what that is, right? We go on the left-hand side, HighLevel's broken up into AI agents and marketing and automations, sites, right? It's not just a big list of every single feature. It's been broken into specific functionality. And it's defined, and it's very, very clear that when I'm in the marketing, all of the things in the marketing module have to do with, again, like marketing, emails, snippets, and trigger links. Everything in the sites module has to do with almost physical elements, like actual, like physical assets, like funnels and forms, right? Like they're all the same. They're almost like the tangible little apps in that have to do with locations that like pages people can come to, right? So your snapshot needs to have that same idea. You need a way of breaking out your snapshot so it's not just a big giant list of stuff. We want to be able to break it out, and I'll show you just here. We group it by module. I want to be able to go, oh, look, I have a module, an appointment module. So that means this calendar, this custom field, this workflow, all of this has to do with appointment setting. I have a client area module that has to do with the client portal. There's a workflow and there's some email templates inviting them in. All of these assets now, by having them grouped in that, I already have context about what this workflow and email template and custom value does. And so with this, with just those 5 things, if you go through your snapshot right now and you write down the list of everything it is, what type of an asset it is, what is a group, what is a way of modularizing, what's its greater kind of purpose, what it does, and how to set it up, and with your $1 million check mark, this is the foundation for almost everything that you need to do to manage. You'll have all of the tools that you need. So cool, Havlin. I just went ham there. Right? I tried to sum it up, but tell me, man.
No, this is so
Is this?
sick. Yeah, so many folks, and like I've been in this mindset too, are like, especially a lot of new users, they may even still be kind of like, I don't even have a snapshot yet, or maybe they came into the community, they received a snapshot from a coach or another successful agency. There's so many different snapshots out on the marketplace for resale, and those are great. They're great starting places. I absolutely recommend that if you have like proprietary experience and you already know what you're doing with HighLevel, then you can go ahead and build. If you're a beginner, you can totally start with someone else's snapshot too. But what Michael, I think, is really getting at here is there's this big picture of the onus being on the agency and the entrepreneur to ultimately, eventually, over time, take responsibility over their snapshot, to see the snapshot as the primary expression of their IP, of their secret sauce, of their business. And this right here is a surprisingly simple way to start to do that. So even if you just bought someone else's snapshot and you're trying to resell it to your client or just implement it following their instructions or whatever, that's a totally great starting place. You don't have to be the wizard who, knows how to turn every business into the next 7-figure success. You can start with whatever starting place you're at. But what we're really getting at, what I think, Michael, you're really getting at with this is this philosophy of, hey, look at what happens when you start to actually understand what's going on inside of that snapshot rather than trying to like cut a corner or take the easy path of just reselling it without any real understanding or responsibility about what the actual assets that you're providing to a particular business are. The the amazing benefits of LTV, everything that he went over in the presentation on the PowerPoint side, this is how you get it when you switch your mindset from being uninvolved, uninterested, um, thinking that you can cut the corner and just kind of get out of the way, and that this just is going to be automatic. When you actually start to understand what's going on inside of your snapshot, uh, and are able to sorry, I'm kind of running out of steam here. When you're able to take that responsibility over your snapshot, it changes the way that you're able to deliver value because it unlocks the potential, the ability for you to actually start to make big improvements into your client's business because
Yes.
you know your client better than the person who sold you that snapshot was. They're off over here. They made their money when they sold you the snapshot, but now it's between you and your client, and you have this great tool, which is the snapshot. But are you going to actually maximize it? The people who are
It's
making the
the
most money with HighLevel are the ones who actually lean into that process, not away from it. Would you agree with that?
it's the accountability word.
Yeah.
Guys, you can build anything, you can promise anything, but at the end of the day, lifetime value, clients stay because the thing that you built them does what you said it does. Everything, and this is where documentation is super important because let's say you're a solo agency, like you're a solo person, and you want to hire somebody else, right? Are you going to explain to them all of this? This is just a sample snapshot. This isn't even like
Hmm.
a full snapshot. This is just with example stuff. Like there's going to be 100, 200, sometimes even up to like 5 or 600 assets in a snapshot. Are you going to explain what every single one of those things was? How are they going to do? Are they going to come to you for it? And by having to write down this detail here, it's going to solidify your confidence is going to be good because you're going to know everything about your snapshot. In
Hmm.
fact, the first thing you should do if you buy a snapshot, the first thing you should do is you should do this process to make sure that the person you bought it from, that it does everything that it says it does. Two, that you understand it. And then number three, so that as you improve, you have a tool to write down those things, those changes, right? If you went, oh, I had this idea on the weekend and I went in and I changed something, right? What did you change? Right?
Yeah.
What, how does that change the onboarding? Is there anything different that we need in the onboarding? We need this source of truth to be able to, if I want to hand off to my account manager, I need this source of truth to hand to them so they can go and update the onboarding documents. Maybe there's like 30 pages of onboarding docs and videos and all kinds of other stuff. Well,
Hmm.
are you going to go through those 30 minutes of videos and stuff every time? Or are you just going to go through those videos and saying, let's look at our source of truth. Is this still accurate to what we're telling our clients, right? So yeah, the accountability that this brings and the amount of speed it takes to bring on more people to trust them. You don't need to take their word. You can just look at their documentation saying, hey, you made a change to my snapshot. What did you do? Oh, yeah, I can see it here. Yep, that's cool. Keep going. That's how you
Yeah.
get out of the business is by getting your
Mhm.
brain onto paper.
Yeah, and I think so two other notes I want to make really quick is just that a lot of folks you'll want to pass this off to a team member if you're in an agency where you're like CEO, head of sales type of role and you have someone else who's really in the operations, pass it off to them. That's totally fine. If you're both hats right now, that's totally fine too, and this is on you. Like, but the person who understands who is the marketer, right? Whoever is really wearing that marketing operations hat, whether it's you or a team member, there's this other really magical element to this. I have experienced this for myself in documentation process, not looking exactly like what you shared. This is actually much better than what I used to do. But there's this thing that happens where once your mindset shifts and you actually go lean into taking a closer look at your snapshot and just documenting what's in there. Like Michael said, like step one is just documenting what's in there. But there's a magical thing that happens, which is most of the time, by the time, and even if it's a snapshot I've been working with for months and months and months already, if it's something I think I'm so familiar with, whatever, going through the process of documenting everything that's in there, typically in my experience, already starts to really bear fruit in terms of ideas for optimization and results getting to it. May be that just off the top of my head, maybe you got like a mortgage broker snapshot and as you're looking at a follow-up sequence, just by nature of you looking at it, you realize, oh, this is worded clearly for folks living on the coast or living in a particular area, but I know I'm working in the Midwest, or the most of the brokers I'm working with are in the Midwest, whatever. And you change some of that dialect to match the region, whatever. There's little things like that that you don't even actually have to work for. I think there's this misconception that it's like, oh, I need a PhD in HighLevel before I even know what buttons to click. But it really doesn't work like that. It just takes the smallest bit of effort to go see what's happening in a snapshot that you're unfamiliar with before things start jumping off the page. Assuming that you know
Yeah.
how the system works and you are proficient in the tool, like the marketing, putting that marketer hat on and actually thinking through what's going to be a good way to help this client get to XYZ result that you've promised them, things start to jump out. And it's a really, really it's a gratifying process to have you start to get your wheels turning and be like, oh, actually, I think I see how I can do this, how I can do that. That's been my experience, and a bunch of the agencies that I coach as we get to that mindset of having them start to really take responsibility over their snapshot. It ends up being this really gratifying thing where they're like, oh yeah, I really feel like I know what I'm doing. I actually made this improvement, that improvement, then I saw the impact on that business because you're the one who knows your client. That's the real thing here, is that like no one else is working with your specific client, whether that's an avatar, a niche, or a personal relationship that you have. If it's like a you're
Mm-hmm.
in network sort of thing, like you can make these little tweaks and optimizations that help your whole base based on your experience and your kind
So
of,
there's,
yeah,
I got to jump in there for one
please,
quick
please.
second there, though. There's something that you said in there that I think is also really important is the documentation process is how you understand your snapshot, right? Because I've been seeing this a lot in the Facebook group, right? Everyone's like, okay, cool, Mike, I see that documentation. Can't I get an AI to write this documentation for me? This has got to be possible, right? But here's the thing. I actually, as somebody who helps teams manage snapshots, I actually don't care about the physical document as much. The documentation is just the byproduct of the
Yeah,
documentation process. Documentation is how you know whether you understand your product and your service or not. If you, as a CEO, if you want to outsource account responsibility of managing it and you don't want to be the tech guy, the documentation is, you don't want the AI to tell you what everything is. What you want is, you want to know, what does my CTO, what does my account manager, or what does my snapshot technician, I want to know that he understands the snapshot, right? I want to know that he understands this whole product.
yeah,
Documentation is not the text on the page. It's a process for understanding and training and keeping that accountability to your product. So that is the one gig thing, because I know this is going to, and the more we get into the AI, everyone wants to outsource to AI. This is a manual process, but the dividends, the amount of value it'll have to you and your business if you go through it and you do it on a daily, anytime you touch things, I promise you that's where the money is going to be made in HighLevel, because it's not
yeah,
useful to have the AI. The AI knowing your snapshot, that's, it's kind of useless, right? Because I mean, at
yeah,
that point, what do they need you? If the AI can build it and document it all, then we don't need agencies anymore, right? We need people that understand.
totally.
Uh
Yeah, and I
yeah.
Oh, I just want to add in that there's a million ways to use AI, and HighLevel is so AI forward. And I am a big believer in cutting corners, hitting the easy button, speed to results, like fast implementations, taking the path of least resistance in so many different areas. I'm sure most of the other webinars you watch in our community, masterclasses that I run, they'll be about how to use AI to save time and money. So we're huge believers in that. But what Michael definitely, it's absolutely accurate that it's less about the actual documentation and it's about the exercise of the documentation process that yields those results. This is like the one time where I would actually encourage people to slow down a little bit, allow something to take 5 minutes longer than it would have if you had tried to cut the corner with ChatGPT. But like you said, it's going to pay huge, huge dividends. All that said, I
Slowing
want,
down,
yeah,
go on.
no,
Slowing
no,
down
no, no,
though
yeah,
is so important, because Here's the other thing. How many people right now have more than one snapshot, right? How many of you have more than 5, more than 10, anything over 1 or 2, right? Yeah, yeah, you have it. Oh, cool. Do you know what all of those snapshots, do you know what everything is? No. Why do you even have them? So,
I don't know.
so the documentation, here's the great thing, right? If you're not willing to invest this time and go through the snapshot top to bottom, open every workflow and be able to go through it, if you're not willing to do that, then you know that this snapshot's probably not worth having and keeping. It's documented. If it's not worth documenting, it's not worth keeping. And so this slowing yourself down forces you to, it also forces you to make sure that what you're doing with intention, and you're not just doing it on a whim. Because
Mhm.
keep in mind, this snapshot, everything you building is, it's not like the old way. Marketing used to be, you get one client, you throw the spaghetti at them. What works, worked. What didn't, you cut out. And then the next client, you do it differently. It doesn't work like that. You build one product, you roll it out to 100 people. And then if something doesn't work, you got to go back and fix 100 people's accounts. And unfortunately, there's no way to delete things in in HighLevel through the snapshot. So they might be working on that right now, but right now you can't. So those are big 1,000-hour mistakes. So documentation, it slows you down, but in a good way. Because I actually believe there's no such thing as cutting corners in a positive light. You're
Sure.
either solving the problem uh, concisely, or you're either solving the problem or you're not. You're
Yeah.
either doing too much work, you're either doing unnecessary work or you're not.
Yep.
And cutting corners to me is what I, to be very definitional, cutting corners is when you do something that you really have to do, and not doing it is actually worse. So
Mm.
I had told you I had ADHD. I never wrote anything down in my life. I never wrote down memos. I don't make lists. I don't do any of that. And I really should be. So for me, the guy who never put his name or date on any piece of homework I ever submitted in school is telling you that you do not have a viable HighLevel business unless you have at least those 5 things we talked about. If I'm telling you that, there's no other way around it. You can
Yeah.
justify it, but at some point it's going to bite you in the butt, and it's going to be a very costly mistake that you'll wish you had not done. So, yeah, man, but if you do it, most people don't want to do this. This is simple. Most people don't do it, but if you do this process, I guarantee you will be ahead of 95% of the other agencies there. You will outscale them. You will be able to bring on team members faster. You'll adapt to the newest and latest and greatest. Your clients will be excited when everyone else's clients are kind of getting bored with the old thing. And that is where you start making the real money, is keeping those clients long term.
Fantastic. This whole masterclass so far has really been about just getting people to understand and believe in the power of documentation, right? Document your snapshot, document what you're, I mean, this could be applied to other parts of fulfillment too if you're working in other areas of the internet or whatever, but for HighLevel, it is all about the snapshot. But
Oh, yes.
the,
By the way,
yeah,
this is how I know when this isn't just my process. I mean, I developed this process, sure, and all that, but this is the exact, so the more developers, there's a lot of people that come from a development background that are starting to
mhm,
get into HighLevel, and every single one of them says, oh, yeah, this is exactly what our multi-hundred billion or billion-dollar thing, like, this is how work gets done, right? Like, these aren't anything I'm talking about. It might be new to marketers, but to businesses that are actually functional at scale, that roll stuff out, this is how
yeah.
work actually gets done. So yeah, this is not some proprietary that only works in Snapshot. Everything that I'm talking about here is battle tested and has been proven in many different things like agile management and everything else. So yeah, that's it. Is this process, you apply it to anything in your business, the
Yeah.
concepts, and it'll work out.
Yeah. I mean, what we're really talking about here at the end of the day is maturing in your business, right? Getting to the point where your business is a real business. It's not a hustle. It's not a weekend warrior type of thing. This is the same processes that multi-billion dollar companies use to get work done across thousands of employees, right? This is you maturing in your business and growing a new, like leveling up your confidence and your capacity and your what's the word? Your competency, right? As a
Mhm.
business above and beyond just high level. That all said, okay, you have another note on that?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, because like if you're going to take it back to the beginning, right? Where we're saying, hey, I don't want to do this documentation. I'll do that once I'm
Hmm.
bigger. Right now, I just have one or two clients. If you can't learn, if you don't practice that now, this process now, you're not going to be able to implement it easily later. Once you already have momentum in a gung ho, let's just do it. These are basic skills. These are habits. And if you don't develop the habit while it's easy and your business is calm, you're not going to relearn and unlearn a bad habit when you've been doing it for 1, 2, 3 years, right? And those are the people that fall out. So I think we should probably talk about how do we, like where do we go next, right? Like, is
Yeah,
that where we're
absolutely.
at? So
Yeah, I want to do
again, we
that.
Mhm.
Oh, yeah. Do you mind if
Keep
I
going,
drive
dude.
for a second? Cool.
Drive away, my dude.
This is my show after all, right?
Yeah, sorry. Well, sorry, sir. I was so
No, I
forgive
just
me.
I feel so passionate about this. I want to speak to that person that you were just speaking to, the one or two clients, or maybe even zero clients, right? Beginners in here who are like, oh, this seems advanced. This seems a little further. And maybe you're kind of scared right now. I know that there's even a part of me probably undiagnosed with some sort of attentional disorder. I feel like many of us are at this point. That's kind of like just has this creeping feeling of like, I understand the importance and I understand I need to go start a Google sheet and put the 5 columns in. I probably need to go back and watch the replay to figure out what those columns are. And but then once I get there, it's just like, do I actually know exactly what I'm gonna do? I'm kind of worried that I'm gonna get 5 minutes into it and kind of forget my purpose, and then next thing I'll know, I'll be doom scrolling on Instagram again and wasting time rather than actually building my business, and that'll just make me feel terrible. And so I want to speak to that person right now, whether you have one client or 100, if that's going to be you, probably 95% of the people watching this video thinking or watching this webinar thinking they're going to take action. That is what's going to happen. They're going to end up not taking action. But I want to show you exactly where to go and what to do if you want that to not be you. If you want to be the person who actually does everything that Mike Pacitto has been telling you to do and getting all the results that he's been promising that he helps his clients every day with inside of HighLevel, this is exactly what you have to do. Okay, let's follow along. I'm going to share my screen. I got to get into the right tab, and for some reason I cannot find it. 1 second. Is it right here?
We did a little switcheroo on our room, so we had to pull him out. Someone had
There we
booted
go.
him out of his room.
Yeah.
There we go. Yeah.
Get on my. Yep. This is
No
the we're
names.
yeah, not
He
naming
knows.
any names, but this is live. These are the buttons that you click inside of HighLevel. I'm going to show you where to go to take the next step here. Inside of HighLevel, I just logged in, brand new screen, brand new window. We're in agency settings. If you see click here to switch up at the top left, you're in the right place. If you see the name of a sub account like Haplin's demo and you click on it, there should be a button that says switch to agency view. Go ahead and click on that. When you see click here to switch, you're in agency view. That's where you want to be. On the left-hand side, there is a button called University. We click that, click Go to HighLevel University. If this is your first time in the HighLevel University, you'll need to join, create a username and password. It takes like 30 seconds. But once you have joined, you will be right here. You can click on the Learning tab. And it is the second one on the list right now, Snapshot Playbook with Mike Pacitto. Click on that. This is everything we went over in this masterclass and much more is in a digital course format. It's called the Snapshot Playbook, where we will hold, Mike, you are going to digitally in recorded format, hold people's hand through doing everything that you just described in order to getting the results that you've promised us. That is a huge, huge asset for you all to have so that after we end this call, you know exactly what to do next. You're not just being sent off to pasture to see if you can sink or swim. We wanted to give you a real resource for you to be able to know exactly how to get your hand held. We'll take you step by step toward getting started down this path of good documentation processes so that you can build confidence, build competence, really have a good sense of understanding what you're doing in here. We're also going to provide you with like a template to that Excel sheet and an example snapshot of a good starting place of to help you as you're on your journey. So many people use so many different snapshots. So please use whatever starting place you are at right now, whether it's a vertical that's already inside the HighLevel new sub account generator. You can start with a vertical snapshot that's our own snapshot, or if you bought one from someone else, or if you've been working with your own snapshot for years now, but you're still interested in optimizing it, this is going to help you with that. I'm just curious
And
if you
this
have
is
any other
also,
notes. Yeah.
yeah, this is a great. This is actually version 3 of this. I built the original of this about 3 years ago. I updated it about a year ago, and when I launched Agency Unbound, and then when you came to me, I gave it like another. I spent another 100 hours
Oh my
trying to
gosh.
get this down to the chorus concept. Because think about you, like you as an agency, you probably have a VA team, right? You're going to be putting your team through this. This is free team training from like 10,000 hours, probably up, getting closer, maybe 12, 13,000 at this point. But this is at 10,000 hours, and I've distilled it down for people who are just going through, and it's starting right at the basics, but it's still the people who've been doing this for many years tell me, like some of the big peep names, like even though the Marios of the HighLevel world,
Mm-hmm.
they go through this and still get something, right? So, but so the just thing is that it is very there's a lot of effort into it, and there's a text version too, so you can follow. And but yeah, so it's value packed. There's not a lot of yapping randomly like I'm doing here today, going on little tangents and sides. So I really hope you guys, this is going to be a good use of your time, and I if not, you get your money back 100% on the free course.
Money back guarantee on the free playbook.
Free
But no,
course.
it's
I'm a
so
generous guy.
valuable.
What can I say?
We no, we are very, very, very lucky. I am so grateful to have had you for a masterclass, Michael, and even more grateful for the playbook that people can go through at their own pace. We're very lucky to have learned from you today. I want to express gratitude to you. Thank you so much for coming with us, and thank you even more for providing us with that playbook so that we can continue to revisit. And there's also a little call to action for people to join your community as well, I think.
Yeah. So you get in, start on your learning in the HighLevel university. And if you want to get I have a version at Agency Unbound where we can do certifications. There's the certifications, there's tests. We have a lot of other little free goodies. And for those that want to take their training further, agencyunbound.com is where you can join in. As of the time of this recording, we'll probably have there's going to be a lot more coming down the pipeline, but you'll be able to get examples of the latest documentation, the latest features. We have a community of people supporting. There's over probably 1,000 at this point of people taking the courses. And also for those that are on the live webinar here, I'm going to be dropping a link for a checklist that you can do. And you know what? I don't want to jump too much into screen sharing, but I think this will be really cool. I just want to show you guys what you'll be getting. Is a very simple checklist that you can do.
Oh,
It's like
nice.
15 questions that you can do to ask yourself of things like, is it easy to update our snapshots and push them out to existing clients? So you can do a scoring system. I recommend 1 to 5, but you can use whatever scoring you want to understand where are your pain points, right? Where are your weaknesses? Where are the things that you need to focus on, and these are the questions that I've seen over the 5 years. Like, if you have these things in place, you will make more money with HighLevel. These are the things that will fix your operational issues. So go through the checklist, take the course, and I just And if you have questions, guys, ask away, right? There's so many people that will help you. And again, Haplin, man, I'm just jazzed. I'm maybe even stoked to be able to have this a chance to share with you guys, because I'm really passionate about it, because I know nothing's worse than when you see somebody that has potential that isn't able to unlock it.
Yeah.
And these kind of simple things is what allows you to move on from the fires and get back to doing what you really want. So I hope people take
Yeah.
this and run with it.
Yeah, there you have it. The least sexy masterclass we have ever done. But I promise
Yes.
you, from my own experience, this is where the money is made in high level. The people who are making the most money, having the most success, creating the most impact in their clients' businesses, able to actually get not just, the money and the reward, but this sense of fulfillment, this sense of accomplishment, this sense of actually, making a big difference in a local business or their client's business, whatever. They're doing these things. So I know it's not very sexy. That's why I brought up the whole Instagram doom scrolling thing. I know a lot of people watching this webinar we're gonna end the webinar and then they're gonna be back to their old habits, back to their ADHD, back to their procrastination. But again,
Hey,
not you.
if you're on this and you're not an agency owner, by the way, there's a business opportunity. Become a documentation specialist, because
Oh yeah,
nobody wants to do. Ah,
that's true.
that's
Good
what I
point.
did. Nobody out there is doing it except me. So the opportunity is there, and agency owners know they need it. So do it for you
Totally.
or do it for someone else.
Yep.
The gift
So
of documentation.
yeah,
Merry
the
Christmas.
your next step, if you're watching this webinar, like I just showed you, go to the university, watch the snapshot playbook. Let us hold your hand through the process of getting your feet wet and getting your sea legs, or whatever metaphor you want to use, with really building confidence and leveling up your game to understand snapshots and understand your snapshot and get yourself into the flow of getting great results with them. Thank you guys so much for watching. We'll see you for the next masterclass.